Both RAVs and handpans are idiophones, meaning that they create sounds not through string plucking and vibration or by tune's stretched skin, but by vibration. And in this case, with the RAV, the tongues, and in the case of a handpan, the tone fields themselves. The RAV actually does not come from the same origin, although it's the same shape as the handpan. Handpans are sort of an evolution and a side branch of the Caribbean steel drum, popularized by Elie Manette in the United States and all over the world, from Trinidad and Tobago. The RAV is in the realm of this in terms of shape and size and function. However, RAVs make use of tongues that are a little bit more similar to an African log drum with slits, or a slit drum, a mabira, or something that has a tongue that's attached to a solid bass that's using to amplify the vibration. And you could say that they're obviously related because they're both idiophones, but they really are from different families and different origins. However, RAVs and handpans share a similar shape. So their center note is the ding, and they walk up the scale, right, left, right, left, right, left. On something like a Caribbean steel drum, this is not true. Sometimes they go across. You could be going like opposite, sort of an X shape. And this is to prevent crosstalk as well, because there's a lot more notes typically on steel pans. The difference really in sound has to do with how the vibration happens. When I strike a RAV, there is a swell where the low end goes up and becomes a predominant sound, and then it trails off and the harmonics linger. So if you listen to this, as the low trails off, you can hear the higher end remain. On a handpan, we get this initial impact sound. It swells and then it decays in a completely different way. At some point, I'll maybe do a video where I have a spectrographic tuner and also some sound analyzing software, because it would be really interesting for you to see how a handpan swells and decays versus a RAV. But the difference in playing style is that RAVs have notes that really linger for a long time. So you either need to plan around that or just work that into your playing and learn to control it. The handpans, I would say, that are steel, stainless steel, amber steel, those instruments tend to have a sound and a length of resonance that's similar to the RAV. But again, what is left over as the note decays and slowly it's quieter is different on a RAV versus a handpan. So I'm gonna give you guys an example of that really quick. So as you can hear, all of these instruments have a very different style of initial sound during strike and also decay of notes. So handpans, although they look like a RAV, and RAVs look like handpans, are a completely different instrument. The mechanism of sound is different, the care is different. RAVs don't come out of tune, handpans can come out of tune. So I think for people thinking about the two of them, they each have their advantages. RAVs are durable, they're going to last a long time, they don't need to be retuned, and they have a smaller profile as well. Handpans have a very rich and beautiful sound, but you need to be careful playing them in the sun and not let children smack them around, or dogs or cats. So there's a use for both of them. I don't draw the comparison between them. I think of them as two distinct instruments. As a professional musician, I play both of them in my performances. Handpans are beautiful for some of the pieces I write. RAVs are beautiful for other ones, but they're not the same instrument. They're different instruments. And I think for players that are looking for a unique twist on something they wrote on the RAV, playing it on a handpan is interesting. And if you wrote something on a handpan, playing it on a RAV can be interesting as well. Changes the flavor, changes the feeling of it, depending on which you choose. And now that we have the Moon as well, the Moon in a sense has a similarity to the handpan in that it's tuned with fundamental, octave, and fifth. So you'll hear in that audio demo that I just did that the D Celtic handpan and the D Celtic RAV Moon share some similarities. I hope you guys understood all of this, and I hope that this was useful for you in understanding the differences between the handpan and the RAV Vast and the RAV Moon. And if you're hoping to see content like this in the future, be sure to be in touch and let me know what you want to see next in comments. Talk to you guys soon. Happy playing.